How powerful is Cox Internet? So powerful that one day, your daughter will be able to simulate a soccer match against some of the world's best players right from your backyard. Get gig speeds powered by fiber from Cox. It's internet built for tomorrow, today. Internet delivered through Cox's hybrid fiber coax network. Speeds vary and are not guaranteed. Cox terms and other restrictions apply.
Why?
If you have T-Mobile 5G home internet, you might be hearing this
Why?
a lot.
Why?
Every time your internet slows down during the busiest hours.
Why?
Because your network gives priority to cell phone users.
Why?
Good question. Why not switch to Cox Internet with 2 times faster download speeds than T-Mobile 5G home internet during peak hours?
Okay.
Stop the whys and visit cox.com/5G home for details. T-Mobile prioritizes certain T-Mobile phone users over home internet users during times of congestion.
Hey, what is going on? Welcome to another episode of the Inspired by Freedom podcast. And this is episode number 4. This is a podcast for travel lovers and adventure seekers and those who have chosen to live a life of travel and adventure. And this episode, like always, I'm going to be sharing with you a lot of insights from my travels and more specifically, what I've learned from being in Mexico City for an extended period of time. For 5 weeks, I was in Mexico City and some of the key takeaways from being there for such a long period of time and how I think it's going to positively influence your decision to visit this beautiful city as a digital nomad and how my experience with travel has been. You know, some people feel like while you're traveling, it's always a bed of roses and you're having fun all the time. But while this might be true, there's also a side that people don't always get to see. And if you're traveling right now and you're feeling that way, I think this is an episode that you will relate to. And if you're thinking about traveling, this is something you should listen to because it's going to inform you on how you should approach travel if you're just getting started. Also, I'm going to reveal where I am right now. I'm in a totally different continent. I know that's crazy, but I'm pretty sure you're going to love it when I reveal it to you. So if that's something interesting, then strap in. This is going to be an interesting episode. Get your popcorn, your drinks, whatever it is you want to get busy with while you listen to this, and let's dive right in. And before I go, I just want to mention that this episode is supported by Mainstack. Now, what is Mainstack, you ask? It's a one-page website builder for content creators and entrepreneurs. It allows you to showcase your work and your creativity without having to write a line of code. And its analytics dashboard gives you a deep insight into what your fans are clicking on and what they're most likely to engage with. Now, to create your own Mainstack page, just simply go to www.mainstack.app. That is www.mainstack.app. Now, let them know that IBF Podcast sent you. Alright, without taking too much of your time, let us jump right into the episode and I will see you on the other side, my friend. Thanks for joining me on this episode of the Inspired by Freedom podcast. I appreciate you tuning in if this is your first time. And if you've been here before, if you've listened to some of my previous episodes, I just want to say thank you for coming back. And if you haven't subscribed yet, wherever you're listening from, maybe that's Apple Podcasts or Spotify or Deezer or Google Podcasts, I just want to ask you to please take a moment. It takes about literally maybe 2-3 seconds to tap the subscribe button. And if you haven't left a review, reviews are a crucial part of podcasts. They're a way to allow the SEO of podcasts rank this podcast among, the top travel podcasts out there. Maybe we're not there yet, but that is the goal. That is what I'm trying to accomplish. That is what we're gunning for in the next couple of months. So it feels like I haven't recorded an episode in a lifetime when in reality it's only been a few weeks, and honestly I've been traveling a lot, and this is what I want to talk about in this episode: how things may not always be what they seem while you travel. Of course, if you're just thinking about it right now, or maybe you've been doing it for a good amount of time, you possibly know this, how travel can be really daunting, especially if you have to work and you have to really work to stay on the road, because traveling full-time is a full-time job on its own. Imagine now combining that with having a job, a full-time job, whether you are a freelancer or you're a full-time employee for a company who works remotely. So that's one of the things that I really want to touch on. Share some real life experiences, be real, be raw a little bit, because, every time people go on Instagram, they say, oh, you're just traveling. It looks like you're enjoying life. Yes, you're right. I'm enjoying life. But at the same time, I'm probably working now longer than I would normally would if I wasn't traveling. And that is because in between wanting to explore places and wanting to, enjoy the local environment that you've just, brought yourself into, you still have to do other things. And what would travel be if you don't explore, if you don't go out and see places and enjoy the rich culture and history of the places that you're trying to visit? So that is, just one thing I need you to keep in mind if you're thinking about traveling full-time, maybe part-time, or just about in any capacity. I spent 5 weeks in Mexico City, and it probably is one of the best 5 weeks I've ever spent, in my adult years. Of course, I've had some really great time as a kid, spending time with family and all, but ever since deciding to go on this journey of travel and adventure, I can't remember a time when I spent 5 weeks in a location completely new to me, where I was just trying out new things, seeing new people, new faces every single day, trying out new food. And that is one of the things I love about my trip to Mexico City. The food was great. I was meeting new people every day. We were hanging out, just having a good time. And Mexico, the city, definitely at this point in time has a place in my heart. Even though my time in that city was very short, I am definitely going to be returning to Mexico City. Maybe some of the people that I met may have already gone by then. I'm pretty sure I will make new friends. And that is just the life of travel, guys. You meet new people every day. You make new friends. So 5 weeks in Mexico City, what are some of the things that I learned while there? Well, number one thing is that Mexico City is much safer than the outside world portray Mexico City to be. If you watch all of this, Western media outlets, they always portray, places like Mexico City as a place where you don't want to go to, with the drug problem going on, narcos and all those things. And I still get people asking me, well, how was your time in Mexico? Was it safe? Hell yeah, it was safe. I had a really, really good time in Mexico City. I never felt unsafe at any point in time. And one of the things that I actually was very sad about was the fact that I had to leave Mexico City a day before Day of the Dead. So Day of the Dead is like an annual, traditional festival that happens in Mexico, the entire country. But Mexico City has a ton of activities going on with people flying in from across the world just to enjoy, and take part in the activities that goes on in the Day of the Dead festival in Mexico. But unfortunately for me, my flight was scheduled to go out of Mexico City the day before Day of the Dead began. And it's like a week-long festival. But before then, I was able to participate in some of the things because you would see a lot of things happening, like a lot of trade going on, new things like vendors by the roadside. It was just something, to be a part of. But maybe next year I will be back in Mexico to participate in this, annual festival. So Mexico City was very safe. I never felt unsafe at any point in time. And if you are someone who, works in a Western world, maybe earns in foreign currency, Mexico City, you will find it very affordable. For me, I found Mexico City pretty affordable. I was able to, live in ways that I've never been able to before when I was living in the United States. I mean, I would take an Uber ride for $2, $3. That's some of the things that I love about the city. I never had any reason to, to think about, how much I'm spending. Maybe that may sound somehow, but honestly, for me, it was just one of the highlights for me in Mexico City was the fact that I was able to, participate in things, go out and really enjoy, the local environment, the local culture and delicacy and the people. And I mean, the fact that I'm able to spend money the way I wasn't able to, it does not mean that, I'm blind to the realities of the local people. In fact, if anything, it has allowed me to be able to give back to the community. I mean, when I go out, I make sure that I tip generously because I know that these people are not earning as much as I am, and tipping them is only, a very little way for me to give back to them and to encourage them to keep doing the good work that they're doing. And which leads me to the third reason why I love Mexico is the fact that the people actually care about you. They care about the things they do, about the services they provide. I was talking to a friend the other day when I went out to a restaurant in Mexico City for a Digital Nomad meetup, and one of the waiters on there was, trying to get my order, and they came with like a napkin, a tray of napkins and a glass of water, and they actually picked up the napkin from the tray and placed it on my lap. That's something that I was never used to. I was looking around thinking maybe it was a mistake or something. And my friend told me, well, that is how things are in Mexico City. People actually care about you. They actually treat you very kindly. And that's one of the things I love about not just Mexico, but the same thing is what happens if you travel across Mexico. I think it would be even more predominant in, the places that are not as big as Mexico City. Because if you think about Mexico City, you think about a city with, millions of people, and they're still able to put in that level of care and personality into the type of service that they provide. So that's one of the things I love about, Mexico City, people actually caring about you. There's no rush for you to get out of the restaurant. If you're there, they let you take your time. And that's not something that I'm used to. After spending years in the United States, you get really used to, this go culture of people just trying to hurry you up, just trying to let you go. Like, we're trying to have more people in here. We're trying to get more customers, but it's not the same, and people actually care. So if there's anything I would take away from my trip to Mexico City for 5 weeks, it would be the fact that people are kinder than we think they are. If you go to any country on the face of earth, you realize that people are much kinder. People are much they are not as bad as we may think they are. So that's one of the things I took away from Mexico City. So after my time ended in Mexico City, I had to fly back home to Baltimore to get some things done. Initially, my plan was to fly out of Mexico directly to Tirana, Albania, but something came up that I had to take care of in person in Baltimore, and I had to fly back to Baltimore for 1 week. I spent a week in the United States, and honestly, it felt like a month. It was the longest 1 week I've had in a while. And that simply, means that after traveling, or if you intend to travel around the world, or you want to live a digital nomad lifestyle, you need to really ask yourself if that's what you want, because it will be much harder to fit back into the society that you left behind, because a lot of things are not the same. It's almost like a culture shock. You see people doing things differently that you're not used to, or maybe you've just gotten used to a different way of life. And that is something that I think I experienced when I got back to the United States. I saw the way people drove and how in a hurry people are to get to work, to wake up in the morning, and to, if they're working remotely, they just want to get on calls, and there's just this faster pace of life that I was detached from for quite a while, that I was struggling to get back into. And quite honestly, I wasn't able to do that. I wasn't able to get myself to comprehend, the new life that I found myself in for the next 1 week. But thankfully, my time there didn't last more than a week, and I was on my way to Republic of Albania, which is where I'm recording this episode from. So Albania is where I am right now. I've spent 5 days here already. I've made 2 YouTube videos so far, and if you want to check that out, it will be on my YouTube channel. If Daniel did, you can go check it out. I made a first impression video about Tirana, Albania, and I did an apartment tour as well. So, this Airbnb, little nice Airbnb, a 1-bedroom, which is sort of like the best Airbnb that I've ever stayed in. I haven't stayed in so many, but this is really good. And I don't think I will ever come close to this type of Airbnb in a while. But every once in a while, when you travel, you should always try to, spend a little bit, splurge a little bit, because it may, the feeling of travel may be exhilarating at times, but sometimes you just want to have this feeling of being at home, this feeling of, just having some level of comfort. You want to have everything where it's supposed to be. Your washer and dryer, your bed, you want it to be comfortable, to be nice. The room you sleep in, you want it to have some little nice comforts that you would get back home. And that is what I tried to do here with this Airbnb. I went out and splurged a little bit on this Airbnb for about $35 a night. And I must say, for $35 a night, this is really good. This is probably the best Airbnb in the Tirana, Albania market right now. And I know this price is going to go up, but I digress. So I'm in Tirana, Albania for, I don't know how long I'm going to be here for, honestly, because I have a few places on my agenda that I want to touch in this country. I'm in Tirana right now. Some of the places I have in mind are, Gjirokastër, Vlora, Durrës, and, Teth and Skoda. And I have read so much about these places, but some of the places I want to go to, like Saranda, Vlora, Durrës, are some of the places that, it should be visited in the summertime. But right now we're approaching the winter time and it's getting quite cold, and I'm not sure I'm going to be enjoying it as much as I would love to, but still I want to spend time in this country, just explore this country a little bit more, learn more about it, about the history, about the communist, regime that's being, that was in place for a long time before this country started opening up its borders to people. And I would just want to enjoy the nature, because Albania is such a beautiful country. We have Greece down south, which gets about 10 times more tourists than Albania, and that's I'm just going to spend some time here. I don't have any rush to get out of here. Maybe I'll spend a month, maybe 2 months, maybe 3 months, we'll see. But a lot of these places I want to really touch and really get to put down some roots here and just explore the country for as long as I can. So how long will I be here for? I don't know. So Albania is home for now, and I will be just getting myself settled into the culture, and making some friends, and just meeting people. And I must say that the digital nomad culture here is not as rich, as broad as it is in countries like Mexico, because Albania is a country that is not very much explored. It is a country that's just opening up its borders, but during the COVID times, Albania has really served as a place for a lot of people, because I've seen the trend go up and people trying to come here. And if you look at the videos on YouTube, about people talking about Albania, it's been getting a ton of views, millions of views across, different creators, mine included. I think the interest in Albania is going to go up in the next couple of years, because people are now they're now starting to see what this country might have to offer in terms of, its infrastructure. It's not the most architecturally modern place, but it's got its own charm in different ways too. The country is so, it's calm, it's beautiful in its own ways. If you are a digital nomad and you're considering coming to Albania, I think this country is really going to be good, because one of the things I consider before I decide to go somewhere is the internet. Is the internet going to be good enough for me to to be able to work and do my regular things that I have to do online? But the internet in this country, especially in this apartment that I'm in, it's incredible. I'm getting about 100 megabytes per second upload and about 35 megabytes per second download, which is something that similar to what I would get if I was back in the United States. And even when you get out of your apartment and you use the regular line, you still get 4G, which is pretty fast. Faster than in Mexico, in fact. So Albania, in terms of infrastructure, will offer that. If you're a digital nomad and you're looking for, strong, solid internet, you're going to find it here in this country. And, the summertime is pretty warm. And they've got like some really beautiful places like Saranda, Vlora, Durrës, Gjirokastër, these are really beautiful places. Like, the nature is incredible in Albania. It's just surprising how people just never come here or how it's not been discovered. But that is why we do this. That is why we travel, so we can tell stories about these places, about, the things that they have to offer. I will be here for a while, and I don't know where I'm going next, and that is the way that I love to travel. I don't like to plan ahead of time. In fact, where I'm going next in the next 2 weeks, I don't know. It might be Florida, it might be Dress, I don't know. So that is one of the things I just want to emphasize in this episode. I just want to link back again to what I was talking about at the beginning of this episode, the fact that if you're traveling, it's gonna be really stressful sometimes, but before you start traveling, or if you're on the road right now just wondering why are we doing this, why are we bouncing from place to place? Well, if you're doing it because you want to take fancy Instagram photos, I don't think that is the best reason to do it. You need to find a different meaning behind it. What do you want to accomplish? For me, it's about enriching my knowledge about places and people and culture, because I've found that when I travel is when I'm most alive. It's when I'm at my best, when I'm meeting people, when I'm talking to new people and learn about new things, and expanding my knowledge and broadening my horizons about things. And that is one of the reasons that will keep me going for the long term, because I know that I will be doing this for a long time. And if you're thinking about traveling and your reason is to be in exotic places and to have fancy photos on your social media, it's going to be a long and hard and arduous journey for you. So you need to find a reason behind why you want to be traveling, because while I'm on the road, I'm working harder now than I've ever done before. I'm finding myself going to bed at 3 a.m., waking up at 8 a.m., 9 a.m. just to get out and shoot content and work and do all of these things. And it really builds your resilience. It really builds your self confidence, because it takes you out of your comfort zone when you're always on the road, when you meet new people and talking to new people every day and doing things that you would normally not be able to do if you were back in your comfort zone in your home country or with your family and whatnot. So traveling can be very arduous, but you just need to find a strong reason why you want to do it. And that is one thing that I really want to emphasize, because I looked at my life over the past 2 weeks and I'm thinking, damn, if I was back in the US and I was just, living a normal life, maybe my sleep cycle wouldn't be as messed up as it is right now. Maybe I would, be making more friends. Maybe I wouldn't be feeling as lonely as I am right now, because again, you will feel lonely when you're traveling, especially when you're traveling solo. That's why I find, people who travel with their partners, very lucky, because they can have someone by their side all the time. They can have someone who they can talk to, someone who can understand or relate to them, or whatever it is that they're going through. They can discuss with someone. But as someone who's traveling solo, there's going to be days where you feel like shit, where you just want to talk to people, you want to interact with people, and not just strangers, but people who really understand you. So I know this, I'm probably, talking about different things at different times, but that just tells you that, the passion I bring into this episode is something that you shouldn't toy with. And I hope you've been able to, really enjoy some of the things I talk about and take some lessons out of them. And this is a podcast for travelers and adventure seekers. So if you are that, I want to commend you. And if you're thinking about it, you're thinking about traveling and just going out there into the world and seeing the world, I think you should do it. I think everyone should get a chance to see this beautiful planet that we live on. And I want to thank you again for taking the time to listen to this podcast. And if you've enjoyed it, make sure to subscribe. That's really going to help us. And send me a message. You can hit me up on Instagram. My Instagram handle is If Daniel Did. I posting about my adventures, about my travels, and I'm also on YouTube. If you want to watch my travel videos, I try to be consistent on there. It's If Daniel Did, ifdaniel@gmail.com. Reach out to me. Let me know where you're at in your journey right now, and I will be happy to chop it up with you and to just have some really awesome conversations. That's what I live for. Again, thank you so much for listening to this episode. I want to appreciate your time, because taking time out of your day to hear me rant for 20-something minutes is not a small feat at all. So I will see you in the next episode. Thank you so much again. My name is Daniel, and I will talk to you next time. Bye.
Match believes that adults date better because when you date as an adult, you get to be a little irresponsible with really responsible people. Rip the clothes off someone who actually knows how to put them away. Fall stupidly in love with someone who's actually really smart. Forget being hot. Get them to ugly laugh. Ready to crush on someone who makes you feel whole? If you know who you are and what you want in a relationship, Match is the place for you. Adults wanted. Download the Match app today.